You clicked on this video and chose to watch it proactively. Nobody held a gun to your head. I would certainly hope not, because, man, it'd be a form of torture. But you know why you did? Because you know we're getting to that time of year. And you can feel it in the very cockle of your soul. You can feel it. You've been fiending for it. You've been itching for it. And you want more, more, more! And what is that? You want me to talk about Bears football! It's not just any football. There's only one team that plays Bears football. There's only one team that does Bears football. And you know it. And oh Christ, we couldn't even wait till the regular season until we got to some Bears football, could we? It's August, and of course, arguably the Bears' best defensive player, certainly I think he is, arguably their best player on the team, probably also is not under a long-term contract. He's in the last year of his deal, and he wants to get paid. And he and the Chicago Bears have not reached agreement on a deal. So, of course, now we are in frickin' August, during training camp, and Roquan's not practicing. He's a holdout because, of course, that's Bears football. And some of you certainly are probably clicking on this video, watching this video, expecting me to just roast the Chicago Bears organization to kingdom frickin' come here. And I'm not going to do that. That doesn't mean they're without criticism. They certainly are not without criticism here. But I look at every side here that's involved, and they deserve criticism. First, for those wise-ass, wannabe, kiss-ass, suck-up Mark fan fucks that sit there and always make excuses and defenses for the Bears. Oh, don't worry, Roquan will get done. Oh, don't worry, it's gonna happen. I fucking told you so. You told us what? Sit down and shut the hell up! You don't know shit. That's why you say dumb things like this. You're the same type of idiots that try to excuse and defend and justify peak mediocrity that is, of course, Bears football. You're the same assholes that'll get excited when you see Goofy George at training camp. Oh, yuck, gosh. I hope my mama, the crypt keeper, lets me have all the shares once she goes to the big clouds in the sky. This is the type of intelligence that we're talking about here. So for all of you fans that were sitting there and like, oh, it'll get done, don't worry. It may still very well get done, but maybe, just maybe, you should stop extending benefit of the doubt to an organization that has absolutely done nothing to deserve it. God. But that's not all. Let's talk about Roquan Smith here. I have absolutely no problem with this young man wanting to get paid. Get every dollar you can while you can. So make him a pain in the ass, so be it. He held out back in 2018, somewhat justifiable based off of the contract language. The Bears, of course, are trying to squeeze in because, of course, it's Bears football. They've always got to do some type of underhanded bullshit when it comes to contracts. Big market team playing that small market style. That's how they roll. I have no problems with Roquan wanting to get paid. I have no problems with Roquan saying, hey, you know what? I'm trying to exercise whatever little leverage I have for this mediocre-ass organization, and I don't really want to put myself at injury risk and potentially cost myself millions. I want to lock up that long-term deal now, especially since I know that Darius Leonard or Shaquille Leonard just got a massive deal. Like, I want to make sure that I can get my chop too. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But where Roquan does deserve criticism is when he goes to social media and basically acts like a scorned-ass teenage girl. Maybe, just maybe, Roquan, there's a reason that most players have somebody represent them, like an agent, some other type of professional representation, especially if you cannot divorce your emotions from the situation. And it is very clear, outside of the reports, like when you talk about the actual statement that comes from Roquan Smith, I was offended by their offer. It hurt me and all this other crap. That's how business goes. Like, did they lowball you? Did they try some Bears football bullshit? Of course they did, because it's the Bears. You've been there for 4+ years now. How the hell did you not know what you were getting into? Did you not remember your rookie contract holdout? You know they were going to try some crap. I don't blame you for saying, no, I'm not taking that crap. You shouldn't. But it's a game. You got to understand the art of negotiation. There's going to be give and take from both sides. That's how a deal happens. And to sit there and so quickly react to, oh, they gave me an offer, I don't like it, now I'm going to react all emotionally to it. Like, Roquan is culpable here too. Like, there's a reason sometimes that people pay the 2 or 3% or whatever the fuck to have representation represent him, to avoid some of the emotions here. Let business people do business. Because now you sat there and put yourself in a situation where you're missing camp, even though you're there physically to a certain degree, you're not practicing with the team, and I don't give a fuck how long you've been playing, like that has an impact. You're not there in the type of role that you would want for somebody that's been there going into his 5th season now, that you would expect to be the franchise player on defense, be the leader of the defense. It's not the same. So yeah, if you can't remove your emotions from the situation, that's on you. And that's a decision of your own making. That does not make Roquan the sole bad guy here by any stretch of the imagination, but he has to take on some of the responsibility. As do Ryan Poles and the leadership of the Chicago Bears organization. My whole thing with the Roquan Smith situation is this. I personally think that he maybe is a bit underrated by the Bears organization, and frankly, a bit overrated by the fan base. Urlacher or Briggs, he is not. He is not. Stop it. He is a really good linebacker. Yes, it is. True. But it's also kind of risky. I agree. We don't even know how he's going to reflect or play and perform in perhaps a different role in Eberflus's cover 2 system. So there is a risk there. I get that. And I get that as a team and an organization, you're looking at it and saying, how much do we want to invest in a non-premium position here, potentially like a linebacker, when the team needs to be built around Justin Fields and the frickin' offense? Because it's the 21st century, it'd be nice for Bears football to modernize a little bit. So I get it. My thing more comes into, you should have never gotten to this point. You should have either A, got the damn deal done a few months ago and paid the man and been done and over with, or B, traded his ass. Because now you're in a situation where it's no win, you look like clowns, Roquan doesn't look good, and even if you get a deal done in a couple of days, a week, 2 weeks, there is no gain here, there is no benefit. I don't understand the whole point of trying to hoard all that future cap space if you're not going to leverage any of it fucking now. And if you want to say, hey, we don't know how much we want to invest in Roquan because of the position that he plays, because of how you envision a modern NFL team should be built around your fucking young quarterback, I get that. Then you should have taken some decisive action on this months ago. Either do the damn deal or dump his ass off in a trade. This is where some folks will astutely come in and say, hey, this is like the old Family Guy scene with the timeshare crap. You could take a boat or you could take the mystery box. Oh, shit. A boat's a boat, but the mystery box could be anything. It could even be a boat. You think about it in this scenario, you say, hey, Roquan Smith is Roquan Smith, but you give us some draft picks out of the mystery box, they could be anything. They could even potentially be Roquan Smith. Good Lord, what the hell is it good does it do to have $100+ million in cap space? You don't even know quite yet what that free agent market's going to look like next offseason. You have one of the few guys that is a marquee player for your team. Why fuck around here? Either trade him when the market is better, because certainly the market's not better to trade him in mid-August than it was around draft time, or pay him. And then, of course, leave it to the Bears to try and play some games with the whole de-escalators. Here's a record deal. Yeah, record for fucking de-escalators. Trying to sit there and pump it up so it makes it look like they're giving them a lot more guaranteed money than what they really are. Typical Bears football kind of bullshit. And this is one of the first real seminal moments for the Ryan Poles regime. And if you think he goes without criticism here, you're fucking crazy. This is happening under his watch. This shit should have already gotten done. This should have been done weeks and months ago. one way or another. I could make an argument for either case, for keeping Roquan and saying, hey, you got to have somebody on defense at some point, and paying him isn't going to set you back significantly. I could say, hey, instead of paying him $20 million this season, let's reinvest that elsewhere, most notably on the offensive side of the ball, and throw everything behind Justin Fields, because that's the only thing that fucking matters for this team right now, which is absolutely true, which is, of course, why this dumbass general manager hired a defensive-minded head coach, and his first priority in free agency was to sign a goddamn 3 technique that didn't even pass the physical. Like, you're in the big leagues now, so to speak, in terms of the role. Like, part of the deal sometimes is these guys deserve criticism. They're not perfect. And it doesn't make you a bad person for calling them out. Like, no, this situation was not handled well. Some of you want to sit there and still try to excuse or defend. Like, hey, at least Poles came up to the mic and talked about it. I don't give a shit. Instead of talking about it, make people feel good about it. How about fucking doing something to resolve it? I swear to God, I did a video like this 4 years ago talking about Roquan Smith, didn't I? Back in 2018, talking about Ryan Pace, just get the damn deal done now. Because they were being fucking stupid. And here again, based off of the reports, which, you know, can be here or there, but we're going to say the reports are probably relatively accurate based off of the reports. I could understand why Roquan's a little bit offended because it's stupid. It's one thing to try and get it as beneficial for yourself on the first pass, but don't play too many games with one of the few franchise-level pieces that you frickin' have. That's unnecessary. That's dumb. That's yuck, yuck, yuck. Gosh, Goofy George endorsed Bears football. It's just a bad look at it. It's a bad situation all around. Instead of trying to focus on the new general manager, the new head coach, the young quarterback who's out from underneath the numbskull head coach, and thinking about, hey, we're trying to build towards the future. Leave it to the Bears to have their priorities in the wrong fucking space and taking one of the few great players they actually have on this team and putting any of that at risk. This was not that hard. You had one fucking job to do. You knew this was going to be an issue at some point, and if you couldn't see that, then that speaks to your competence level for the job. You should have either traded him or gotten the damn deal done. One way or another, there should have been no distractions here. No drama here come training camp. An incompetent general manager allows this to happen. And based off of this one particular sequence and circumstance, oh, but Ryan Poles says they want to get it done. Yeah, they should have wanted to get it done months ago, you dumbasses! And they didn't do it. It's such a Bears football thing. I can't even yell at this time because it's like, it's so typical. The Bears aren't always cheap per se because you look at the numbers like the past decade, I think they're in the top 10 in the league in terms of spending against the cap. But when it really comes down to it, and when it really matters and they can really make a difference, they've always got to be up to some BS like this. That is Bears football! At this point in time, even trying to trade Roquan is no guarantee you're going to get nearly the return you think you want to get, especially for a guy that has 1 year left on his contract. What's the appeal there? How much of a market is there going to be to trade for somebody to come in and want to trade for a guy like Roquan? What are you actually going to get in return? Now, if you're not getting a bounty of picks, what the hell is the point? You might as well get the deal done. Or what are you going to do? You're going to sit there and, now you've pulled him off the PUP list. You're going to start fining him. And then even then for Roquan, like, what's your play here? You going to sit there and sit out the whole season and lose a year of service? No, certainly not. You going to sit there and sit out most of the year and lose a crap ton of money? That doesn't seem very wise either. Like, there are no winners here. Which, appropriately enough, doesn't that sound just like Bears